What's up guys, your boy Lucci back yet again with another Call of Duty Warzone video for you. And today we're doing something a little bit different. It's not going to be the traditional class setup guide, even though I do have a ton more of those planned out for the channel. But today, a lot of people have been asking a lot like, alright Lucci, what do you run? I see this pro running this, or this pro running this setup. And today I'm going to give you guys an in-depth look at what a lot of the pros are running for these like pro Call of Duty Warzone lobbies. And I just want to go over one of the most popular setups that the pros use right now that I'm seeing a ton of pros, people like Cloaksy. I think Tfu's been running this since he came over to Warzone. You've probably seen Swag run a similar loadout, probably Nick Merckx. I mean, everybody has played around with a loadout that's pretty much almost identical to this. I did see Cloak running this exact loadout the other day, and this is something that I've been running for a couple of weeks. I've taken a little bit of a step back from the GRAU just to experiment with other weapons, as you guys have seen from the channel. But I do have this one as a backup, as like my try-hard, like gonna go full sweat mode loadout. So I'm gonna show you guys that today and go over it a little bit and explain some of the decisions I made and why myself and other pro players are making these decisions when putting these attachments on these weapons. So stick around. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button with the bell notification turned on so you don't miss any future Warzone content. And today, you guys have been crushing it with the like ratings. I say this every single video, but every single video you continue to amaze me with how quick we hit our like goals. So today let's just go for 150 likes. We're gonna up the ante a little bit. Normally it's 100, this time we're going for 150. Let's see if we can't smack that. You can't tell, my walls are getting a little more white because I took everything down. I am moving apartments this week, so probably in about 3-4 days you're gonna see me in like a little bit different of environment, but it's gonna look very similar. That shelf's gonna be there. There's gonna be some new lighting, some new things are in the backdrop, so stay tuned for that. And just one more time before we get into today's video, guys, we're over 4,500 subscribers on the channel now, well on our way to 5,000. The channel's been getting like 1 to 200 subs every 24 hours, which I never thought I'd be at this point, so thank you guys so much. It means the world. It really does. So getting into today's video, what is the pro player loadout that a lot of these pros are using for these super high kill games that you guys are seeing when people are breaking records? Now, every pro is different. Some people prefer the M4, others prefer the M13. Like myself, I really enjoy the M13, but what I'd say 70% of the pros are using is a loadout that looks something like this. And what that is the GRAU MP5 setup. Now, the GRAU has pretty much turned into this tried and true assault rifle. It's pretty much the king at those longer distances as far as assault rifles go, and it can hold its own in the medium range too. Up close is where it starts to struggle a little bit because it lacks the fire rate and power that, you know, maybe an M4 has, or the fire rate that the M13 has. So it's really that king of that medium to long range engagement. I mean, you can't beat the GRAU at those distances. It really is unmatched. And couple that with the fact that the GRAU has one of the best iron sights in the game in terms of visibility, you don't need to ever put an optic on this thing. And what that does for you is it opens up the opportunity to use other attachments instead of an optic. Now, the second weapon a lot of pros are using with this type of setup, again, it couples really well with the GRAU, being that the GRAU has such good long range but lacks a little bit up close, is the MP5. And we're going to go over both of these in depth and what the attachments are that you see most of these pros running. So starting off with the GRAU. The GRAU is pretty much going to look like this in most cases, I think, for most pro players and most high-level players as well. You might see a couple things switched up, but this is pretty much what I've seen just from observing a lot of pro players over the last few weeks. So first and foremost is obviously the monolithic suppressor. The benefits of this attachment really can't be understated. You get sound suppression, which keeps you off the mini-map, and you get damage range. Those are really the two big things with it. It's not super complicated what it does for you, but it makes a world of an impact on the overall game experience. Second is going to be the Tempest Archangel barrel, the 26.4. You will occasionally see people run the Nexus barrel because it's a little bit more mobile, but the iron sights are different. Not everybody prefers that, and you lose some of the damage range. Really, the Tempest Archangel barrel is pretty much the best iron sights in the game for any assault rifle, like bar none. You look, you can kind of see it. It's one singular line up the center, so it makes getting on target and tracking your enemies really easy without anything cluttering the sights, like stuff with the M4 where it has the little circle ring you have to look through. Those are what make the other assault rifles have crappy iron sights compared to something like the GRAU, but you're going to see most people running the Tempest Archangel barrel here. The third and most common attachment is the TAC laser that you're going to see a lot of these pro players running. It gives you aim down sight speed, aiming stability, so your gun will idly sway less when you're ADS, and aim walk steadiness. All of these things are just going to in turn help your accuracy when you are ADS'd, and obviously it gives you that ADS speed as well. So a lot of people will opt for the tac laser here. Obviously, the laser is visible to enemies, but in a game like Warzone, I don't feel like the laser makes that big of an impact. I've never seen it impact them in really a negative way. I don't think a tac laser is ever necessarily going to get you killed, but it can technically give your positioning away, so you got to kind of be aware of that. Keep in mind, though, the tac laser is only active when you actually aim down sight, so if you're just walking around with this thing at your hip, they're not going to see it. So maybe just be a little more conscious of when you actually do ADS. The fourth attachment that you see a lot of these people run is Commando Foregrip. Commando Foregrip is great because it has the recoil stabilization and aiming stability. Again, aiming stability, not the most important thing for assault rifles, because all it's really doing is reducing that idle sway when you are ADS. That's what aiming stability does. I would argue that aiming stability is more so beneficial on like sniper rifles and DMRs, where you really want to get that first shot accuracy as precision as possible. But it does have recoil stabilization, which to my understanding, recoil stabilization reduces the side-to-side recoil. If I remember Exclusive Ace, check out Exclusive Ace on YouTube. If I remember how he described it, it reduces the left-to-right recoil. So really, it just makes it so with the GRAU, all you gotta do is pull down to control it, and that's pretty much it. One of the other big reasons that you see a lot of pros go with Commando Foregrip on almost everything is, while yes, it will reduce your movement speed by a little bit, it does not reduce your ADS time. And that is what happens with a lot of these other popular attachments, like the PERK Foregrip. Look at it. Negative ADS time, negative aim walking movement speed. Ranger reduces your ADS time. Operator reduces your ADS time. You see what I'm saying? The Commando, for most people, seems to give the biggest benefit while not reducing your ADS time, so that's why you see a lot of people running Commando. And the fifth attachment is going to be the 60-round mags. In a game like Warzone, where everybody can have so much armor on them at any given time, having the 60-round mag for that extra firepower really is just beneficial. You'll see some people running the 50-round mag, but for the movement speed increase you get by dropping from 60 to 50, I've just never really seen it as really worth it, so I kind of always stick with the 60-round mags too. Now, where sometimes you'll see the GRAU differentiate a little bit, you might not see someone run a tac laser. Maybe they'll drop the tac laser for a no-stock option. It really just depends on the person, but this build is by far the most popular one among pro players. The second part of this loadout is the MP5, and the MP5 dominates up close in those close quarters engagements. It's arguably the fastest killing SMG in, you know, if you're gonna push people's houses, you're gonna push tight alleyways, the MP5 is gonna be your best friend. This is the loadout that I've been seeing pros, again, like Cloaksy run, and I run this exact loadout myself. A lot of people think that it's more beneficial to go with a monolithic suppressor here, but what they don't realize is that the barrel actually has a custom integration for the MP5. You can get the monolithic integral suppressor, which gives you not the damage range that you would get from the monolithic suppressor, but it does give you the sound suppression and bullet velocity, and it doesn't reduce your movement speed. So that's why a lot of people are starting to really pick up this attachment and realize how good it is, myself included. I love the integral monolithic suppressor. Also, what that does for you is it frees up another spot so you don't have to be using a muzzle. You can pretty much get two birds with one stone by just going with the barrel attachment, using the integral suppressor, and now you free up a slot for something else. So a lot of really good players and pro players will go with the integral suppressor, although you will see monolithic suppressor on some loadouts. I'm starting to see this a lot more common. Next is the 5MW laser. For obvious reasons, it gives you that hip fire accuracy. Up close, guys, with the MP5, I don't ADS unless I absolutely have to. Hip fire inside of these houses is king with this thing, and that's the whole point of why people run this. And then sprint to fire speed. If you're going to be sprinting and running and gunning inside close quarters combat areas, you want to be able to fire right out of a sprint as quick as possible, so that's why they go with the M5 laser, or the 5MW laser here. The third and one of the most important attachments, I think, and it just really helps out with the overall, like, what you're trying to do by having an MP5 as a secondary, is you're trying to be light and agile and really mobile. You want to float like a butterfly, sting like a bee with the MP5. Muhammad Ali, shout out. The F-TAC collapsible stock is going to give you a big boost to mobility. It's going to give you movement speed and ADS speed. This thing, I love this attachment. Easily one of my favorite attachments for the MP5. You're floating all around the map at like hyper speed. It's great. The fourth attachment is the PERK foregrip here. Again, you got to think, we're not really worried about ADS speed. We do get a reduction to ADS speed with the PERK foregrip, but what we do get is recoil control and hip fire accuracy. Again, I cannot overstate this enough. When you're inside these close quarters combat situations, inside houses, buildings, alleyways, tight rooftops, you want to be hip firing the MP5 to get the maximum benefit, and so you can just swap between targets really fast. You don't want to be kind of like fiddling with the ADS. The iron sight's not that great on this. Hip fire is great with the MP5, especially like within 15 meters or so. So you want to be hip firing, and that's what the goal of most of these builds are that you're seeing a lot of pro players use. And last but not least is the 45 round mag. Now, I'm sure you've seen people run the 30 round mag. I understand that it does have more damage, a little bit more range, but we're not necessarily worried about range as much as we are being up close and personal. So I'm going with the 45 round mag here, and this is what you'll see a lot of the times. Again, I keep repeating this, but I've seen so many pros run the 45 round mags. I think Swag runs them. I know Nick Merck runs them. Huskers I have seen run the 10mm mags before, and I have also run them before. They are good, but for the purpose of this build, you want to have maximum firepower, and the 45 round mags are going to give you that. So guys, basically with this loadout, you got the best of both worlds. You got the GRAU that controls and absolutely dominates those mid to long range AR fights, so you got the range right there. I mean, I've seen people with the GRAU literally challenge snipers that are 300 meters away and win. The GRAU is really that easy to control, and it's got the damage range, so the GRAU wins out at the long range fights. And then you got the MP5, which is just that second part of the 1-2 punch to really bring this loadout together, because you can cover all ranges with this loadout. And that's why you're seeing so many big names, whether they're streamers or professional players, run a loadout similar to this in Warzone, because it covers all angles, it covers all ranges, it does all the jobs you need it to do. There's a reason why you're seeing loads like this be part of those high kill world record breaking games. As far as the perks go, most people will start off with something like this, like an EOD overkill amped, or maybe a double time or a cold-blooded overkill amped, and then later on they'll probably switch to restock so they can keep getting stuns throughout the match, or they might switch to ghost. Those are the two most common ones you're going to see people swap to on like their second loadouts and stuff like that. And then the majority of the player base, pretty much everybody, whether you're a pro player or you're a casual, a lot of people are running C4 and stuns, just because C4s just destroy those vehicles that you have to worry about, and then stuns are super overpowered right now, to be honest, and you get hit by one of those, good luck, you're probably dead. Unless you're already aiming where they were or where they're coming from, probably game over before you get hit by a good stun. Anyway guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. That's all the time I have. I hope this video helped you out and put things into a little bit of perspective for you on like what the ideal setup to run is if you're going for like those high kill games, and like why are the pro players running these weapons so often. Hopefully this video kind of like put that in check for you and like just made you understand a little bit more like what their mindset is when they're picking these loadouts and why they do it. Again, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the sub button with that bell notification turned on. I try to upload Warzone content daily, so never want to miss a video. Make sure that bell notification is turned on. Drop a like on the video if you found anything helpful today, and drop a comment down below letting me know what your best combo is to go for those high kill games. Are you running something like the GRAU and the MP5? Are you running the MP7? Are you running a sniper rifle? Because I've seen a lot of high kill games come from sniper gameplay as well. What are you running for those high kill games? Again, love you guys. Thank you so much for the recent support here on YouTube. That's it for me today. Peace.